Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. We are Matty list today. He's over in the UK, sick, maybe self-induced liquor flu, maybe the regular flu. Who knows? I haven't got to talk to him. I just got the message this morning. So I'm here with you, and we are going to go over all the games for Week 16. But before we do that, we got to go back and talk about the games that happened Thursday and Saturday, because there was some wild things that happened this week, guys. Anybody who missed the Rams game is missing out. There has been a couple great games already leading into this weekend. We all should be excited about the NFL Week 16. But let's talk about what happened in that Seattle Seahawks versus Los Angeles Rams game. That game was insane. So anybody who watched that game saw the Rams take control of that game, saw the Rams up by 16 points late in the fourth quarter. If you're like me, I was thinking, man, I should hit Netflix right now. I'm not sure I even should watch the end of this game. Glad I stuck around because things got wild. So it all started, the comeback started with Shaheed's return of a punt for 58 yards for a touchdown, cutting the deficit, starting the comeback. The Seahawks then get the ball back, score again, go for a 2-point conversion to tie the game, and that's when shit went wild. That 2-point conversion was wild. Also, this is why your coaches teach you to always go to the whistle. Always go after the ball. Even if you don't think it was a fumble, even if you don't think that the ball is loose, you have to go get it just in case. And the thing is if the Seahawks don't go and pick up that ball, even though it was a backwards pass, a lateral, which makes the ball in play, if Zach Charbonnet does not pick that ball up in the end zone, it's not a touchdown. It's dead. It doesn't matter. The call's moot, and the Seahawks still don't get those 2 points. So the fact that Charbonnet went and picked up that ball in the end zone was huge. Now, it was one of the wildest 2-point conversions I had ever saw. When I watched it happen, I was like, was that backwards? And then I thought to myself, nah, nobody's scrambling for that ball. And then all of a sudden he picks it up, and then the announcers start talking, and next thing we know, we're under review, and the Seahawks tied the game. That was a crazy ending to the regular, to the games. Wow, I can't even talk today, guys. Sorry, it's early. That was a crazy end to the game, and now we're going into overtime. The Rams decide to receive the kick in overtime. Matthew Stafford hits Puka Nacua 41 yards, putting LA up by 7. Now, this is the age-old question. The rule's relatively new, but this is the age-old question of the new rules under overtime. Do you kick or receive? And this is why I'm a believer in overtime. If you get the chance, you kick. There is also, though, this weird chance if a team wanted to try to eat the clock, eat up the whole 10 minutes, and then kick the game-winning field goal to win the game and leave you no time. But 10-minute drives are hard in the NFL. You don't see it very often. So I say you kick the ball off in overtime, and this is why you do that, because we saw Rams come down, score 41 yards by Puka. Seahawks get the ball back. They respond, and instead of kicking the extra point, they go for the 2-point conversion and win the game. And I don't care what any of the coaches say. I don't care what McDonald says. When he was like, we were thinking about it, you knew what you were doing. You know you were going for 2 the second you decided to kick in overtime, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think it was a great idea. Now you know what you need to get. If you stop the Rams from scoring, you need 3. If the Rams get 3, you know you can tie it with 3. But once you get the Rams get that 7, you know you need a touchdown. So now everything's 4 downs. And then at the end, you already knew you were going for 2 with the game on the line because the tie actually helps the Rams. The tie does not help the Seahawks in this scenario, gives the Rams the tiebreaker. So McDonald said, we're going for 2. We're going to win this game. And it's exactly what happened. Sam Darnold's been balling out. The Seahawks have their quarterback of the future in Sam Darnold. Matty and I talked about this on Thursday. So for the Vikings, it was different. If the Vikings did not have J.J. McCarthy, I guarantee you they would have signed Sam Darnold to a long-term contract. But the Vikings built this team to be predicated on a young rookie quarterback so that they could pay other players around their team and build around this young rookie. We are seeing that J.J. McCarthy has something. Now, it's been a rough start for J.J. McCarthy, but like I said, if it wasn't for J.J. McCarthy, I guarantee you the Vikings would have signed Sam Darnold. So Sam Darnold looks like he's the long-term answer in Seattle. He looks like he pairs great with McDonald, and that defense is really good. But the Seahawks did everything they could to try to lose this game and then turned around and figured out how to win it. I don't know if I should drag them for how poorly they played at times during the regulation, or if I should praise them for the way they came back in the fourth quarter and overtime. So I'm going to stick with a positive thing. We're going to praise them for what they did in fourth quarter and overtime. It was crazy to watch that game go down. And anybody who missed it, man, go catch that on the All 22. Go catch that on the replay. That was a great game to watch. Even if you just watch the end of the fourth quarter and overtime, you will not regret it. All right, then we had the Eagles Commanders. We're just going to go through this quick. So Eagles start off real rocky, fumble the opening kickoff, kicker misses 2 field goals, but they still figure out how to overcome, and they beat the Commanders 29-18. So if Matty was here, I would guess he would drag the Eagles because he's a Cowboys fan for playing so poorly at times. I look at it the other way, which shouldn't shock anybody who follows the show. I give the Eagles credit for overcoming those mistakes in the beginning. But those mistakes in the playoffs are going to hurt you. So the Eagles need to figure out how to clean up those mistakes. Saquon Barkley played well. The Eagles played well. Now, there's a lot of drops in the NFL this year, and I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure if it's more just we're seeing it with big-name receivers at bad times in games, or if there's really a lot more drops. But it seems like there is a ton of drops this season, and we saw it happen with Smith. But again, the Eagles overcome. They figure out a way to get the win. I don't want to spend too much time on this game. So Eagles win, secure the division. I was having this conversation with somebody in our group chat who's an Eagles fan. He thinks they're going to start resting people to be healthy. I get you want to be healthy, but seeding matters, especially this year. I think if you're the number 2 seed, you really want that. No, you do not. You no longer get a bye, but you're guaranteed a home game for opening week of the playoffs. You win that, and you're guaranteed a second home game. That is huge in this NFC playoffs because this is going to be a dogfight in the NFC playoffs this year. So I think seeding really matters this year, sometimes maybe more than most years. So if I'm the Eagles, I'm trying to go after that second seed. I'm trying to see if I can get ahead of the Bears to go get that. I know Eagles fans may feel differently. Like I said, I was talking to an Eagles fan yesterday where he just wants them healthy. I think we're going to see some suspensions out of this game, which is going to make it interesting for next week because of the wild shit that happened at the end of the game. And like I was saying to my buddy in the group chat, like, it's one thing for the Commanders to do this because their season's over. Any suspensions hurt the Eagles more than they hurt the Commanders. The Commanders were in their feelings because of the way the game was going, and then got under the Eagles' feelings. And next thing we know, there's this brawl on the field, and I would think some suspensions are coming, like I said. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But that hurts the Eagles more than the Commanders because the Commander season is essentially over. All right, let's talk about another game, though, that was complete ass for 3 quarters and 12 minutes. And that is the Packers-Bears game. And then next thing I know, that game was electric. And the fact that Caleb Williams put this game away on just a frozen rope to DJ Moore in the end zone was electric. That walk-off touchdown in overtime was absolutely electric. Now, the Bears, their shining light in this game was their running game, and no team took over and controlled this game at all. But the Bears had a better running game because it seems like they were picking up way more chunk yards, that they were the ones moving the ball when they needed to. And it really seemed to help later on in the game. DeAndre Swift, 54 yards. Monangu, 50 yards. Caleb Williams ran for 30 yards. And then DJ Moore for 12. And no, that doesn't like break the box office with the stats. But it does give them about 150 yards. Well, it's exactly 150 yards rushing from all four of those guys, which I think was the key to this game. Also, I think Caleb Williams played fairly well. 19 for 39, 250, 2 touchdowns, 98.9 passer rating. I would love to see Caleb Williams have a few more completions, but I thought this was a good game for the fact that nobody lit this game on fire. Like, neither team decided they wanted to take over this game. And then you have Jordan Love going out with the concussion after having 77 yards. Malik Willis played well, not left, 120 yards, 1 touchdown. He did 142.8. Willis had 44 yards rushing. The Bears did not game plan for that. So, and the Bears on the defensive line are slower. So it was really hard for them to match up with Malik Willis. So at times in this game, I thought Malik Willis was going to take over the game. Emmanuel Wilson played good for the Packers, 82 yards rushing on 14 carries. But, man, I think Malik Willis has a chance to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I liked him coming out of college. If you go back, you can see I was toting Malik Willis when he got drafted by the Titans. I thought it was a good pick. I don't think they did well at developing him. I think Matt LaFleur gets a lot of credit. Of course, the player gets a lot of credit because they have to be the one that put in the work and have the talent to do it. But you also need the right coaches. And I think Matt LaFleur has done a good job of developing Willis. And I think he's a guy that we should see other teams looking at, not only for a great backup, but this is a guy that could start in the NFL, and who knows where you could go. Do I think he could be a Super Bowl winning quarterback? Probably not. But for a team who needs a quarterback or who needs a bridge quarterback, I think this is a guy you got to look at, and then maybe he shocks you. And if he develops more with his passing game, this guy could be really deadly on the right team. So we'll see in the offseason. Is there teams who try to go after Malik Willis, who want them to be his starter? We'll see what happens with that. But the Bears-Packers was just a shit game until there was 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and then overtime. It was electric. Now, Vikings fan, I was trying to figure out how both these teams can lose, but I was happy the Bears won because, fuck the Packers. All right. All right, that's breaking down the games that we just went through this week already for the Thursday and Saturday game. We're going to jump right into it with this week's games. Matty gave me his picks, so we're going to go over these picks, and then we'll get up out of here. It's probably going to be a little shorter show than normal because I don't have Matty to tell he's wrong this week on his picks. So it'll just be me giving you Matty's picks and breaking down mine. But let's start with the Cowboys versus the Chargers. Cowboys favored -1.5 in this game. Kind of crazy. The Cowboys have had some issues this year. They've been up and down. They've been rocky. And when they need to win games, they haven't been getting it done. Chargers still in the mix for the playoffs. Still in the mix for trying to get something special done this year. I don't think they can win in the playoffs, maybe a game, but every team wants to get to the playoffs because once you get there, you still have a chance. And the Chargers right now are in good position to get in the playoffs. All they have to do is keep winning. I have the Chargers winning. I'm taking the Chargers +1.5. I think they're going to win. So if you're going to give me the points, that's what I'm going to go with. Oh, sorry, guys, my alarm. Matty also picked the Chargers to win this game, which I'm sure kind of hurt as a Cowboys fan. But that's what we got to enjoy about Matty is he loves to try to be honest with his picks. So Matty's going against his own Cowboys unless it's some reverse psychology. But both of us are taking the Chargers at plus 1.5 in this game. All right, the next game we're going to talk about, Giants at the Vikings. This game has the two youngest quarterbacks in the NFL starting this week. We got Jackson Dart versus J.J. McCarthy. Jackson Dart's been really fun to watch this year. J.J. McCarthy's been making progress over the last couple games. We seem to forget that this kid is like 9 games into his NFL season or career, so people already want to talk about how J.J. McCarthy's a bust. But again, he is only 9 games into the NFL, so I mean, take a deep breath. Let's let him develop. Let's give him some time. Shout out to people in the comments. Really appreciate you. I really am excited to watch this game because right now, as a Vikings fan, the season's over. I just want to see J.J. McCarthy develop. I want to see where we go from here. I know the Vikings put a lot of dudes on IR this week. Christian Darrisaw, Jonathan Grenard, Metellus. This 3 big losses for the Vikings, so we'll see if they can overcome against the Giants. I know that they're just trying to make sure guys who are injured are healthy for next year because they're playing for nothing right now. So why risk an injury to any of the players? Put them on IR. Think it was a great move. We'll see what happens with the Vikings moving forward with these injuries. They have had an injury-riddled season. It's been a rough season for the Vikings. So this is what you do. Go in, make sure you help J.J. McCarthy develop for the rest of the season. Come back next year with some playoff and Super Bowl aspirations because the team is talented. They're just developing a young, takes some time. Hopefully JJ takes the steps next year because what he's done the last couple of weeks, he does look like an NFL quarterback. He shows spurts of his talent around, even in some of the bad games. So Vikings, Giants, Vikings only a 2.5-point favorite in New York. Matty and I both are taking the Vikings minus 2.5 in that game. Now we're going on to the Dolphins versus the Bengals. If this is probably not going to be the least watched game in the NFL, I don't know which one will. Maybe the Jets Saints. That's another bad game that I don't think a ton of people are going to be tuning in for unless you're fans of those teams. But the Bengals are favored by minus 4.5 in this game. I think what's going on in Miami is just slow death by 1,000 paper cuts, right? Everything that can go wrong has go wrong. Tua's been benched. We're going to see Will Grier play this game. They're jumping over Zach Wilson, which if anybody was watching the news this week, Zach Wilson was not happy about the fact that he got skipped for viewers. I get it. If you're the Dolphins, you want to see if you got something in the 7th-round quarterback. Because if you walk away from Tua, you are about to take a $90 million cap hit next year. We've watched it play out with Denver moving on from Russell Wilson. They take $85 million. I think they still had to eat like $30 million this year. So what they're doing in Denver is pretty awesome if you think about how big of a hit they had to take. This is what the Dolphins are looking at. Tua is not the answer. Matty and I have been over this. If the Dolphins move on, though, the cap hit is enormous. It is enormous. So they have to see if they have something in this 7th-round quarterback so they can absorb this cap hit to get out from under Tua's contract and move on. Let us know in the comments, what do you think should happen with Tua? What do you think is going to happen with Tua? Do you think he'll be a Dolphin? Do you think he'll be somewhere else? Do you think he'll be a backup or better? And where do you think the best landing spot is for Tua? Drop that in the comments. But Matty and I both, again, have the Bengals minus 4.5. Each of us are taking the Bengals in this game. Matty and I have picked all these games the same so far, so hopefully that'll change moving forward because we do not discuss our picks before our picks, but here we are picking the same ones. All right. Let's talk about Panthers, Buccaneers. Buccaneers are favored by minus 3. It's been rocky for the Bucs. Big Baker Mayfield fan. Love what they're doing. with Baker Mayfield, resurrection of his career. We talked all the time about how the Browns totally mishandled this situation. Bucks trying to win the division. Panthers can still win the division if they win both. If they win out, this is a game that should be a slugfest. Panthers overachievers, or maybe we just don't give them enough credit. But they have been a thorn in team side. They beat the Packers this year. They beat teams that when we think they should lose, but they also play down to opponents when we think they're better than them. I think this could be a barn burner of a game. I think this could be one of those games that come down to the end and both teams fighting for the playoffs, fighting for the division. Matty and I are both taking the Bucks at -3. I'm not positive about this game. And if you guys are betting, I would stay away from this game because the Panthers very easily could win this game, and I wouldn't be shocked. But I do believe the Bucks are the better team. I think the Bucks can get it back together this week. So give me the Bucks -3. Matty has the same. We're going to talk about the game probably nobody wants to watch, the battle for a better draft pick. The Saints, Jets. Saints are favored by 6.5. Both teams are awful, and I get why the Saints are favored. I absolutely do. I think the Jets win this game. I am taking the Jets, and I am not going to put a lot of time into talking into this game. So give me the Jets plus 6.5, because even if they lose, I think it's less than a touchdown. Now, Matty has the Saints by winning by more than a touchdown. I think that's the Kellen Moore effect. Matty loves him some Kellen Moore. So I think that might be it with Matty. He's not here to defend it, so that's what we're going to ride with. But Matty's taking the Saints -6.5. I'm taking the Jets at plus 6.5. Again, another game I wouldn't bet because both teams are just a shit show. Now let's move on to a game that has a big point spread, double digits. Here we go. Browns, Bills. Bills favored -10.5. Browns decide to bench Shadur Sanders. I don't understand what's going on. I feel like they're sabotaging Shadur. I know you know what you have in Dylan Gabriel, and he's not it. You already made the awful decisions with Deshaun Watson that put you here because you decided to move off Baker Mayfield after an injured season where he played poorly. Yet, this is the guy who took the Browns to the first playoff game in how many years, played out of his mind the season before they got rid of him. But because he played with injury, and this is why I always say that guys shouldn't play with injury, especially if they're not established, because they end up using it against you. Think about where the Browns could be right now with all those draft picks they gave up, with all that cap money they spent on Deshaun Watson, if they would have kept Baker Mayfield. This could be a team that was competing for the Super Bowl, but no, they make bad decisions repeatedly. That's why I have to go with the Bills, even with the -10.5. I know people think it's crazy because of the point spread, but give me the Bills. Matty is taking the Browns with the points. Matty's taking the plus 10.5 with the Browns. So again, Matty and I disagree, but I think the Browns are mailing it in. I think it's over. And the fact that they benched Shador makes me feel like they don't know what to do right now. And for the first time, I have a real big problem with Kevin Stefanski, two-time coach of the year, who I have defended, spent 17 years with my Vikings, and I think he's got some kind of personal thing going on with Shador. I'm not quite sure what's going on, and I think they're making a huge mistake. And I think the Browns should actually move on this year from Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, because we have watched them make horrible decisions this season with quarterback carousel. But give me the Bills to cover. Manny's got the Browns with 10.5. Don't love which point spreads, but it is what it is. All right, we got the Chiefs, Titans. Chiefs season to me pretty much over. Patrick Mahomes is injured. Looks like Father Time's catching up with Travis Kelce. Where do we go from here? Cam Ward, rookie quarterback on the Titans. Matty got the Chiefs -3. I'm thinking the Titans in the upset because I don't think the Chiefs have a lot to play for. I don't think the Chiefs have shown much this offseason. I've seen some flashes from Tennessee. Don't think they're great. Do love their running game. Chiefs give up big gains on the ground. I think the Titans figure out a way to win this game. Give me the Titans +3. There again, Matty and I disagree. All right, everybody. We are going to talk about the Broncos Jags, but before we do that, I just have a little something I want to tell you guys. If you want to support us, there's an easy way to go out there and support us. Let me have Matty tell you about it. We'll be back in 1 second.
Me
Check
and Jay
this
set
out.
up the Yankee and the Brit nearly 5 years ago. And in that time, we've gone up to about 7 shows a week. And with the help of our loyal community, we've been able to keep growing. But we want to grow even more. And that's why just giving $5 or £5 could really help us out in our Buy Me a Coffee fund. And all you have to do is hit the Buy Me a Coffee link in our YouTube descriptions that'll be on every single video. You can give £5, $5, you can give it once, you can give it every month. And what that does is it allows us to grow and even buy ourselves a coffee every once in a while.
A cup of coffee. You can do it by hitting the description or the link in the description. You can hit the QR code up here. We really appreciate any support, but if you don't want to support financially, that's cool. The biggest way you can support us, hit that like and subscribe, hit the notification button, and share the content. We appreciate all of you. We're watching the views grow, and we just love you guys for it. So thank you so much. If you're watching and you want to hit the comments, feel free. And we always try to address the comments. And when Matty's here, Matty gets a real kick out of the comments. So just comment. All right, let's move on, though. Let's talk about Broncos, Jags. Broncos look like they are the king of the AFC right now. They're figuring out how to win close games. The Broncos playing all these close games scares me for them because in the playoffs, one mistake and you're out. And when you keep playing close games, it gets harder and harder to win these games as the season goes on. It's a drain on you as a team. You have to put a lot more effort in. I would like to see the Broncos try to put a team away early. It's not something we're seeing from them, but very impressed with what's going on with the Broncos, the number one team in the AFC, best defense in the league. Bo Nix has been showing that he is definitely an NFL quarterback, but the Jags are coming on. Jags are making a run for that division title. Jags want to make the playoffs. Trevor Lawrence has been playing well. Liam Cohen seems to be the right guy for the job. His great running game schemes. Looks like him and Trevor Lawrence are finally clicking. Give me the Jags +3.5. Matty's got the Broncos at -3.5. I think the Jags win this game. I am back in my toxic relationship with Trevor Lawrence. He apologized. We went to couples therapy. We're back in a toxic relationship. So I'm taking the Jags +3.5. Matty's got the Broncos at -3.5. And then we're going to talk about the Cardinals, Falcons. Again, two teams. Who gives a shit? What do the Cardinals – I mean, the most exciting thing about these teams right now is what do they do in the offseason, right? What do the Cardinals do about their quarterback situation? Well, both teams. What do they do about their quarterback situation? Is Kyler Murray still in Arizona? Is he still the starting quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals? More and more, it seems like that's not going to be the case. Where will Kyler Murray end up? I think the Raiders might be a great spot for him. Also, with the Falcons, what do they do at the quarterback position moving forward? Kirk Cousins should be a free agent. They got to move forward with Michael Penix. Did they make a mistake on Michael Penix? Matty is already all out on Michael Penix. Does not think he can be an NFL quarterback. Young, I think, is starting to trend in that direction. I want to jump on the he's a bust train. But it's looking good for the Falcons. They try to keep Kirk O'Chains. Do they let Kirk walk? What is the deal? If I'm Kirk Cousins, after the way they handled that situation, there is no way I am signing a contract to stay in Atlanta. But he might. The team is talented. Raheem Morris is not the right coach for me. I think it's time to move on. I think it might be time for both of these teams to move on from their coaches. Falcons are favored by 3, so it's the Falcons -3. Matty and I both are taking the Falcons -3. I called it last week. the return of Kirk O'Chains. I think Kirk Cousins better for this team than Michael Penix. We'll see what happens. Like we talked about offseason moving forward. But you got Bijan Robinson. You got Kyle Pitts. You got Drake London. You got Kirk Cousins. You got offensive line has been playing really well throughout the second half of the season. Give me the Falcons. Falcons minus the 3 over the Cardinals. All right, on against the spread. Makes sense. Raiders, Texans fighting for the playoffs. Texans have been playing really good since the second half of the season. Texans need this win, which I don't think they're questioning. Should they beat the Raiders? They absolutely should beat the Raiders. The question comes is, should they beat the Raiders by more than 2 touchdowns? I hate big point spreads. I hate when it goes this way. A lot of times it won't lean the underdog, but Raiders are just so awful. I can't lean into the underdog. I might regret this. Matty might regret this. Both of us are taking the Texans minus 14.5. Another game I would not bet if I was you, but if you're gonna, I'm suggesting Texas minus 14.5. Matty, Texans minus 14.5. All right. Lions, Steelers. Lions fighting for the playoffs. Steelers trying to make sure they win that division. Both these teams want to make the playoffs. The Lions cannot lose and make the playoffs at this point because as of right now, as the playoff picture sits there on the outside looking in, they're chasing Green Bay right now, trying to get into the playoffs. Do the Lions have enough to make the playoffs? I say yes. I think the Steelers make the playoffs this year. It is the Lions favored minus 7. Will we see TJ Watt? What's going on with him getting stuck with the needle? Will the comeback, when he does come back, will it still affect him? I don't understand I understand what a collapsed lung is. I don't understand how it affects you. I've never had to deal with this, and I've never personally known anybody who's dealt with this. But he went for needling, which I guess is like acupuncture, but they go deeper. I don't completely understand it. They hit his lung, collapsed his lung, missed last week. Let's see what happens with TJ Watt. I still think when the Lions are trying to make the Super Bowl this year, their Super Bowl window, I think, is closing. They're going to have to make it as a wild card. They're going to have to take the long road to the playoff or through the playoffs if they can even make the playoffs right now. Do we think the Lions can make the playoffs? I do. I think they can make the playoffs. I think they can pass the Packers and get into the playoffs, maybe leaving the Packers as the odd man out, looking at that tie, thinking about maybe that fucked us. But Matty's got the Steelers, so he's taking the Steelers plus 7. I got the Lions minus 7. I think the Lions make a statement in this game. I think the Lions are a really good team, and I think that Dan Campbell has been calling games better than we've seen before. Him and his punter have made up because him and the punter did not get along or whatever the issue was. But I know I joke that he must have been sleeping with Dan Campbell's wife with the way he refused to use him. Dan Campbell has been calling a more mature game, should we call it, not just as emotional as Dan Campbell always gets. Steelers played a good game, spread the field last week, stretched the field right off the bat, opening up some of the running room for their team. I think we're going to see the Steelers defense be harder to have big gains against. Do we go back to Aaron Rodgers, Dinkin and Duncan? We will see what happens. They need to get the ball down the field to DK Metcalf if they want a chance to win this game. I don't think they get it done. Give me the Lions with that explosive offense. Jahmyr Gibbs is out of this world. Amon St. Brown, Jameis Williams. Like, this team is stacked with talent. Jared Goff, top 10 quarterback, no doubt in the NFL, which if you go back to the trade, they actually got an extra second-round pick for taking on Jared Goff because the Rams were done with him. So it's kind of crazy how this all turned out. Great for the Lions, great for Jared Goff. Give me the Lions minus 7. Again, Matty has the Steelers minus 7. All right, we're going on to Sunday Night Football, Ravens, Patriots. Ravens minus 3. This is insane to me. Matty and I both took this game as our best bet. How are the Ravens favored over the Patriots when the Patriots, to me, are the best team in the AFC right now. I know that the Broncos, with their record, are the best team in the AFC. To me, the Patriots are the best team in the AFC right now. Drake May is for real. I said this before, but I give the Patriots so much credit, and Elliott Wolf deciding that it's okay to move on from Gerard Mayo to bring in Mike Vrabel after one season. They saw the shit show that was that one season, realized they needed to change, went out and got Drake May, went out and got Milton. Stephon Diggs hit the fountain of youth for a while this year. I love what the Ravens or what the Patriots are doing. I hate how the Ravens are playing this year. I feel like they are not the Ravens of the past. That running game does not scare me this year. That defense is no longer the Ravens defense. It is just by name, not by how they're playing. People are still giving them too much credit. The fact that the Ravens are favored by 3 is insane to me. Matty and I both picked this as our best bet. Both of us have taken the Ravens +3, or the Patriots +3 against the Ravens. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to read and talk to you at the same time, and I'm used to Matty running the show. So it's been a couple of years since I had to be the quarterback. But Patriots +3, Matty and I both book it. That is my lock of the week, which probably means the Ravens will win. But my lock of the week, Patriots +3. Matty agrees, both of our best bets. And as we hit Monday night football, we are talking Colts 49ers. The Colts, we all know what's going on with the Colts. Anthony Richardson seems to be a bust. Daniel Jones playing the season of his life out to a knee injury. And they bring in a geriatric Phillip Rivers. Everybody talks about how great he played. He threw for like 160 yards and a touchdown. I don't know. Good for him. Great that you're out there playing. I would guess I would have to look this up, but I am guessing only guy in NFL history to ever start a game right after being a Hall of Fame finalist. And then why do you come back and play a half a season now that you have to wait in 5 years to get into the Hall of Fame, which I think we all agreed Phillip Rivers was getting into the Hall of Fame. But now him pushing his chances of getting into the Hall of Fame back 5 years. Quarterbacks put up way more stats than they used to. This might actually hurt Phillip Rivers getting into the Hall of Fame. Let me know what you think. Drop in the comments. Do you think Phillip Rivers coming back hurts him getting into the Hall of Fame because quarterbacks keep putting up such astronomical numbers? Does it make Phillip Rivers look less like a Hall of Famer moving forward? We'll see in 5 years. But the 49ers are favored by -5.5. The 49ers just keep winning. The 49ers bring back Rob Saleh, which I think was huge because they've had a lot of injuries, and I think he has schemed a lot of their wins for their defense. I think his scheme is amazing, and as Matty has said, the Jets have not been the same since he left. If you look at the defense, it has just went the wrong way since he was no longer there. The 49ers have this weird situation going on with Brandon Ayuk. I'm not sure what's going on. They just ripped $26 million in guarantees away from future, and he's not even fighting it. He's not with the team. And it's weird because he fought trying to get this contract, and he fought and he held out, and I'm not mad at him for that. Like, go get your money. Like, the NFL stands for not for long. Go set your family up. Go set your future up. But you got that money, and now you're not with the team. We don't know what's going on. This is a very weird situation, and it looks like bridges have been burned. I'm not sure there's any coming back from this, but the 49ers just keep trucking, figuring out how to win, next man up. Give me the 49ers -5.5. I don't understand how people are picking the Colts in this game, but there is some people picking the Colts. Matty also has the 49ers -5.5. So we are going with the 49ers -5.5. All right, guys, we're getting to the end of the show, but let's do a little recap for you. I'm going to go back through this. So Matty picked Chargers +1.5, Vikings -2.5, Bengals -4.5, Bucks -3.5 or 3, Saints -6.5, Browns +10.5, Chiefs -3, Broncos -3.5, Falcons -3, Texans minus 14.5. Steelers +7. Ravens or Patriots +3. 49ers minus 5.5. And I took the Chargers +1.5. Vikings minus 2.5. Bengals minus 4.5. Bucks -3. I took the Jets +3. I took the Bills minus the 10.5 to cover, where Matty took the Browns. I took the Titans +3 for the upset. Matty took the Chiefs. I took the Jags at +3.5. Falcons -3. Texans +14.5. I hate that spread. I took the Lions -7. We both took the Patriots at +3 for our best bets. And again, I took the 49ers minus the 5.5. If you want to follow our best bets of the week, Matty took Bears +1.5, so he's a winner there. Patriots +3, Chiefs -3. I took for my best bets Lions -7, Pats +3, 49ers -5.5. Chat GPT took the Rams, took the Eagles -6.5, and took the Bears +1. And it looks like ChatGPT 2 weeks in a row went 3-0. So on the year for ChatGPT, because we've only been doing this for 3 weeks, ChatGPT is 6-3. They went 0-3 week 1 and had went 3-0 back to back. So there you have it. Those are best bets for the week. I hope everybody's going to enjoy some football this week. It's usually a longer show, but that's when I have Matty to go back and forth with and talk about all the games with. All right, everybody, I really appreciate you watching. We got an hour till kickoff. You go enjoy the games. Come back. We will be live, I believe, on Tuesday because Christmas is Thursday. So I hope everybody has a great holiday season. Everybody be safe. One world, one love.